जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल। हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। कलियुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की दाय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 2. Chapter 2, text number 46. Chapter 2 is entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. Text number 46. Yavanartha udapane sarvata samplutodake तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Purport. The rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karmakanda division of the Vedic literature are meant to encourage gradual development of self-realization. And the purpose of self-realization is clearly stated in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 15.15. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to know Lord Krishna, the primeval cause of everything. So self-realization means understanding Krishna and one's eternal relationship with him. The relationship of the living entities with Krishna is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. Therefore, revival of Krishna consciousness by the individual living entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. This is confirmed with Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. Ahovatashvapachoto gariyan yajjivagre vartate namatubhyam te pustapaste juhushasturarya brahmanuchurnama grananti ete. O my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family like that of a Chandal, dog-eater, is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literatures many, many times after taking his bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage. Such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas without being attached to the rituals only, and must not desire to be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms for a better quality of sense gratification. It is not possible for the common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals, nor is it possible to study all the Vedanta and the Upanishads thoroughly. It requires much time, energy, and knowledge and resources to execute the purpose of the Vedas. This is hardly possible in this age. The best purpose of Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of all fallen souls. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by a great Vedic scholar, Prakashananda Saraswati, why he, the Lord, was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist instead of studying Vedanta philosophy, the Lord replied that his spiritual master had found him to be a great fool and thus asked him to chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. He did so and became ecstatic like a madman. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in Vedic wisdom, and the author and knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. And the highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism. Hare Krishna. So verse says, Yavan artha udapane sarvata samplutodake. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. So in traditional Vedic times, every village would have multiple wells, each well meant for a specific purpose. So one well is only for washing vessels, one well for taking bath maybe, another well for temple pujas and other things. One well maybe for cremation purposes, like that. So every well has its use and they don't mix each other. But the verse says, just as there are different wells serving different purposes, but all these purposes can be served if one goes to a river or a lake. Because the river has flowing water and it has unlimited water. So everything can be done in one place. Bathing, hoya, washing vessels, puja, paraphernalia, whatever you want to do. All in one place. So similarly, there are so many Vedic literatures. There are the Puranas, hundreds of Puranas, hundreds of Upanishads, and there are the 4 Vedas. And then you have Itihasas like Mahabharata, Ramayana, and the Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavat Puran, all those things are there. So which one to use? Everything has a purpose. Each Puran, for example, is catering to a purpose, catering to a certain class of people. Like it is said, the Puranas there are 18 main Puranas. And 6 of them, 18. 6 Puranas deal with people who are in the mode of ignorance. People who are dominated by Tamogun. There are 6 Puranas addressing them. And then there are 6 who deal with people who are in the mode of passion, Rajogun. And there are 6 who deal with people in the mode of goodness, Sattvagun. So it is addressing different classes of people. And the instructions are not going to be the same. Right? If everything is same, then why classify? And similarly, there are itihasas. Mahabharata, Ramayana is meant to address a certain class of people with a certain mindset. And then there are other literatures. Bhagavata Puran is addressing another class of people. So usually we tend to think, ultimately it's all Vedic literature. And it's meant for everyone. Everything is meant for everyone. Which is not true. Just like, for example, a student who is studying in school. In school, first standard, second standard, he studies. And then he goes to higher standard. Once a student reaches a 5th and 6th standard, he is not going to refer to textbooks of first and second standard. Right? You cross over a lower standard textbook and then take up higher studies. Similarly, once you reach 10th standard, you are not going to refer to primary textbooks. And then you still go to higher secondary, degree, PhD, post-graduation. So as a student progresses in his studies, his or her studies, you give up. You don't reject. It's not that they are useless. But you don't need that. It is meant for other people. Those who are at a lower stage, those textbooks are meant for those people. And you are expected to take up higher studies. Similarly, when it comes to Vedic knowledge also, there is gradation. There is hierarchy. And not every book, every literature is meant for everyone. In fact, you will find sometimes contradictions. Some Vedic literature instruction is contradicting with something else. That's not exactly a contradiction. It is meant for someone else. It is meant to cater to someone else. But those who don't understand the purpose, they feel, Are, your own books are contradicting each other. So which one to accept? So therefore, we need to understand what is the purpose of all this entire body of literature. What is the goal of all these different thousands of instructions? So here this verse in the Gita says, just like a river can fulfill all the purposes of multiple wells, if we can find one person who understands the purpose of the Vedas, and you approach him, then everything at one place. So easy. If I try to study every book and understand the purpose, I may take years to understand. But if I know one person, anyone, who has studied everything and who understands the purpose, I just go and ask him. So easy. You save time so much. Right? So what is the purpose? That is the next question. So in the Gita itself, Krishna says, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo Vedantakrit Vedavideva chaham. Vedaischa sarvair. Sarva Vedai. By studying all the Vedas, ahameva vedyo. I am the person who is supposed to be known. By studying all Vedic literature, one is expected to know, understand Krishna, God. And if you don't understand, if after such a laborious effort, years of studying, undertaking, you study all the literature and come to the conclusion that there is no God, it's a waste of time, right? Or you end up believing someone else to be God, or you have some other conclusion. Then it is a waste of time. Aham eva vedya, vedaischa sarvair. After every Veda is supposed to tell you, teach you, who am I? Krishna is telling, aham eva vedyo. So you find so many organizations, so many people studying Vedas, this Veda, that Veda. If their conclusion is leading them to understand Krishna, then it is a success of their study. If it is making them come to some other conclusion, then the purpose is defeated. The effort is wasted. Or effort is not fully utilized. And then he says, Vedanta Krit. Who compiled the Vedas? All this literature. Ultimately, it is coming from whom? Vedanta Krit. Krishna says, I am. I am ultimately the compiler of the Veda. The knowledge of the Veda is coming from me. And Vedavid. So all this knowledge, is there anyone who understands it fully? That is also me. Besides me, there is no one who understands the Vedas better than me. Vedavideva chaham. Compiler and the knower of the Vedas is me, myself. So if all our efforts of practicing spiritual life, studying spiritual literature, practicing some disciplines, some spiritual principles and practices, if the purpose is not to understand Krishna, as Krishna says here, then we need to redefine our purpose. Is it really worth then? Do I need to study? Of course, there can be secondary benefits, many other benefits of studying any body of literature, but that is not the purpose, main purpose. You may say, by studying this, I got this benefit, I learned this also. Could be true, but that is not the purpose of the study, the main purpose of the study. So if I take admission in a college to, say, MBBS, for example, ultimately the purpose of the college is to become a doctor. But you may say, I learned the English language also, by the way, and I learned many other things. I learned to play cricket because I studied 4 or 5 years in the college. I learned skills, many other skills. I didn't get the MBBS degree, but that's okay. That's not okay. That is the main purpose of entering the college. Other things are secondary. This is the primary thing. So that's what it says. So usually we find religious practitioners sometimes tend to become fanatical. Fanatical means my way is the best way. What I do, what I practice, whom I worship, that is the best. And everyone else is inferior. Jai Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki. So that's the usual tendency. Because of a narrow mindset, we think everyone else is either bogus, false, or they are not up to the mark. So rigidity happens when we think certain procedures, certain systems, anything out of this definition is deviation. You have to worship like this. You have to bow down like this. you have to offer prayers like this. So every system of religion has a certain method. And if we find someone else doing something else, we feel that is wrong. So therefore, all authentic religions encourage flexibility. One has to be flexible. Flexibility can happen only if we know the purpose. Only if we know the purpose. If the purpose is missing, or if we are unaware of the purpose, then we think the procedure is important. The process, we give over importance to the procedure and not the purpose. That's how people become rigid about their belief systems, about their religious practices. So if we know, like this verse says, if we can get hold of one person, get in touch with person who understands the purpose, then all the differences can be reconciled and accommodated. Therefore, one must be rooted in tradition, but our presentation should be relevant. If you are simply rooted in tradition and become fanatical about tradition, then gradually over a period of time, we become irrelevant. 500 साल पुरानी बात हम ऐसे ही करते थे, हमारे दादा परदादा ऐसे ही करते थे, and we say नहीं अभी भी ऐसे ही करना चाहिए, then we become irrelevant. And the other extreme is every 2 years changing things. Every year you keep changing because times have changed and we have to become relevant, and then you end up compromising the principles. So which things to keep fixed and which things can be adjusted, that needs some expert guidance. If we change the fundamentals, the core fundamentals, in the name of relevance and acceptability, then you dilute the whole process. After 10 years, you will find totally different thing only altogether. And if you become rigid about no changes allowed, everything what it is, ऐसा ही होना चाहिए, no change, that becomes too rigid, right? And people get disconnected over a period of time. Arey, ye log old mindset, they don't change. So where to remain fixed up, and which things can be adjusted? For that you need a person who understands the purpose. We can't depend on our own experience. We may think this can be adjusted, that should not be adjusted, but that can be faulty, inaccurate analysis. Like our Radha Gopinath Prabhu gives a nice example. During the freedom movement, Indian freedom movement, so Gandhiji started this system: boycott British products and adopt only khadi. Okay, khadi movement, because khadi was homegrown product. All those hand, क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Local people would produce hand woven cloth, hand spun cloth, and the British started importing finished raw material लेके यहाँ से वहाँ से Manchester based products they were getting here, and they were cheaper. So people used to think this is cheaper and this handmade local product is costlier, so let us purchase that. But the Gandhiji said no, that is imported. We want to promote local people. It's a good idea. And he started the Khadi movement. Now this is almost 100 years earlier, right? 1920s ki baat hai ye sab. But suppose today I say only Khadi. Khadi nahi hai to imported Khadi. But the principle is lost here. What is the principle? Principle is support local products. If khadi is not available, and if silk is available, or if something else is available, nylon is available, but local, then purchase that. Not that you import khadi based cloth from UK, US, or the moon, maybe. that is defeating the purpose. So this is what happens when you take the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. The letter of the law is use khadi. Kahin se bhi lao, use khadi. But the spirit of the law is accept homegrown, local products. So this is what happens when we take simply the letter of the law from scriptures. ऐसा कहाँ है? ऐसा लिखा है यहाँ पे. But what is the spirit behind it? Times have changed, right? So somewhere you will find, no, you should use these products. You should follow this method. But many of those things are contextual. It applied to a certain time frame, certain geography, certain cultural context. But the times have changed. And the location may have changed. When Prabhupada went to the US in 1965, he was from Vrindavan, which is a traditional Indian spiritual town, Krishna's birthplace, and all traditional methods followed. And he went to US, who has no understanding about who Krishna is, what Krishna consciousness is, what temples are, what Gita is. Those people have no idea, at least in those times. But if you say, nay, you have to follow this. This is what we follow in India. You have to, take bath 3 times a day. That's what pujaris do. And you have to avoid these food. And you have to follow this method. You have to chant these mantras. You have to perform worship like this. These offerings, so many offerings you have to do in a day. So many items has to be offered. They will say, get lost. We don't want to follow all these things. Right? So Prabhupada had to be flexible. Flexible doesn't mean compromise the fundamentals. Flexible means adjusting. So he began with simple worship. So Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra deities were there. And what did he say beginning? Just offer a candle. Candle se shuru. And how do you worship? You take a candle, ghumao 7 bar, 6 bar, 5 bar, and then pass the candle to someone else. That was the first ISKCON temple in West. Now, some traditional Indian pujaris take objection. How can this be a temple? What kind of substandard principles are you following? So people can argue. But if you understand the purpose, why this is done, how it is benefiting the population there, eventually now they have big temples. It began with a small thing. If Prabhupada would have been rigid, then Krishna consciousness wouldn't have spread at all in the West. People coming from all kinds of background, drug addicts, smokers, drunkards, all kinds of bad habits are the people coming there. You can't expect them to follow everything. So therefore, you need a living person who can act as guide. Mahajano ye nagatas sapantha. One has to follow a Mahajan. Rupa Goswami uses the term Niyamagraha and Niyamagraha. The spelling is the same. Niyamagraha, Niyamagraha. But the meanings are opposite. Niyamagraha means one doesn't care to follow any rules and regulation and acts whimsically. If you tell them, oh, these are the rules, you should follow this. I don't care. I will do whatever I want. This is Niyama Agraha. And Niyama Agraha means too much concerned about rules and regulations and not understanding the purpose. ऐसा ही होना चाहिए, ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. This, ये time, that time, you have to do parikrama like this only 3 times and 7 times, 101 times, and offer these items. It has a pure, too much insistence on every minute detail of the rules. But if you ask them, why? What if I make some adjustment? तो नहीं, ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. So both are unfavorable. Rejecting the rules whimsically and over addiction to rules without understanding the purpose. Both are undesirable. So therefore, one has to find the balance. Where to insist on rules, where to compromise, where to adjust. So therefore, we need the guidance of a Mahajan. Mahajano ye nagatas savanta. If there is a Mahajan to guide us, all we have to do is just follow the path laid down by these people. And then we reach the destination and the goal. So therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas give us many instances where ignorant people achieved perfection by following a guide, a teacher. Like there is a story in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the story of Prahlad and Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu had gone to perform tapasya in the forest because he wanted powers. He wanted to become the king of the universe. And he went to perform intense, severe austerities. And his wife, Kayadu, was pregnant with Prahlad inside. So all these devatas, they were scared. They thought if Hiranyakashipu has gone there and now he's going to come back very powerful and we will be destroyed. So they thought his son, who is in this womb, of mother's womb, he will become a bigger Hiranyakashipu once he takes birth. That will be bigger danger. So one Hiranyakashipu we cannot handle, or a junior Hiranyakashipu will be more dangerous. So they thought we will kill the child as soon as he is born. So they were prepared. That's when Narad Muni comes there. Narad Muni tells, look, O Indra, this child is not a Hiranyakashipu. He is a great devotee of Vishnu. He is going to be a great devotee of Vishnu. And in fact, he will be the cause of the destruction of Hiranyakashipu. So give up the idea of killing him. So Indra, what did they do? What did the Devatas do? They could have argued. They could have challenged, right? Hey, how do you know? Generally, it doesn't happen. The child inherits the qualities of the father or the mother. And if Hiranyakashipu is such a big demon, enemy of Lord Vishnu, how can the son be a devotee of Vishnu? That is unheard of. But they didn't argue. Narad Muni bol rahe hain. It must make sense. It must be true. Blindly they believed. And they left. In fact, they did parikrama of the mother. Beta andar hai. They gave 3 parikrama and then left. And then Prahlad was born. And that's what happened. Then we know the history. Right? How Prahlad became the cause of Hiranyakashipu's destruction, death. So this is one instance where we don't have to unnecessarily challenge and question. If some authority is saying something, just follow. There, we may not be able to know every reason, every analysis. Why this? Why how this? Why not like that? What if like this? It's a waste of time. If depends on who's speaking, who is instructing. If the instructing person is a reliable, well-known authority, better accept and save time. That's the point here. River and well. Another example is Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaj is a 5-year-old boy. And he was insulted by his stepmother. He wanted to climb the lap of his father. And his stepmother, Suruchi, said, no, you cannot climb the lap of your father. Why? Because you are not born from my womb. You are not my son. If you become my son, next life, then you can climb the lap of your father. So Dhruva couldn't understand this theory. He ran to his mother Suniti and said, "This is what happened." Suniti said, "What can I do? I am helpless. Your father doesn't care for me. You go." So he said, "What should I do?" Suniti said, "You pray to Lord Vishnu. He will fulfill all your desires." So where to find Vishnu? I have heard Vishnu is found in the forest. Sages go to forest to find Vishnu. You can try your luck. So Dhruva set off immediately to the forest. And there he meets Narad Muni. Again, Narad Muni comes into picture. Narad Muni says, "Where are you going, by?" "I want to find Vishnu." "Vishnu? 5-year-old boy. Why are you so concerned about finding Vishnu? Just play around, enjoy life. Khelo, IPL dekho." He said, No, I want to find Vishnu. You tell me the method. If you know the method, you help me. If you don't know, please side ho jao. I'll find my way. Narad Muni understood this boy is very serious. So then he said, "Okay, I'll guide you how to do." And then he gave an entire process. Where to go, what to worship, how to worship, which mantra to chant, how to fast, how to avoid certain things. First month, second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, sixth month. How to change your methods. Each month becoming more and more severe, intense. And he said, if you do this within 6 months, you will get the darshan of Vishnu. So what did Dhruva do? Dhruva didn't challenge. What is the guarantee? What 6 महीने में नहीं हुआ तो? What will you do? ऐसा कुछ पूछा नहीं. 3 महीने में हो गया तो? No questions. Blindly followed what Narad Muni advised. And what happened? 6 months he got the darshan of Vishnu. Record break, record time. Usually people take years and lifetimes to get the darshan of Vishnu. Dhruva got in 6 months. So just blindly accepted Narad Muni's authority, Narad Muni's directions, and Dhruva achieved success. So several cases where a seeker, an eager spiritual seeker, wanting to know the mysteries of life, the ultimate goal of life, what is the purpose of life, the purpose of creation, who am I, why am I suffering, what is the real problems of life, and how to find real solutions to these problems of life. These questions are never even addressed in our regular academics. We are taught how to make money. Ultimately, fundamentally, that's the purpose of all education, right? How to make money and live a happy life. Although it can go in the name of physics, chemistry, engineering, medicine, ultimately the purpose of all education is what? How to make money and live happily. No one cares to address these questions. Is there a meaning to life? Why am I born in the first place? And why there is a death? Why there is suffering in this world? Is there life after death? Was there life before birth? These questions never ever cross the teacher's mind, the student's mind. And no one could care less about it. But Shastra says this is the purpose. So those who are really seekers, eager to know about the deeper meanings and mysteries of life, they look for who can answer these questions. Where can I find these answers? And those who are sincere come across someone who can answer these questions. So you find King Parikshit in the first canto. He was cursed to death by a sage, cursed to die in 7 days and 7 nights. And suddenly he felt, now is the time. I have to seek answers to the real questions. And he's sitting on the bank of the Ganga. Who will answer my questions? Parikshit is the king of the planet, emperor of the planet. But he didn't have someone who can answer this question. So many people come there. Oh, king is sitting here with a with a with a serious business. Many people come, many sages, many rishi, munis, they come, and everyone starts giving opinions. Oh, Parikshit, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. Oh, don't do this. Don't do it. Good. Give charity. Do this. Study this. Follow this. Everyone had their own opinion. But Parikshit was not sure. He was confused. Whose advice to follow? Whose advice to follow? People like to give advices, right? You present a problem, 100 people will give advice without any conclusion. So Parikshit was in similar situation. At that time, who walks in? Shukadev Goswami. And as soon as everyone saw Shukadev, they felt, this is the right person. He is the right person who can address all of the questions of Parikshit. So they invite him, welcome him. The king invites him, gives him a nice seat, makes him comfortable. All others sit. And now they want to hear the conversation between Parikshit and the student and the teacher. What are they going to discuss? What are the questions Parikshit is going to ask? And how is Shukadev Goswami going to answer them? And that's how we have the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So Parikshit asks the question, several questions. And after presenting his questions, Shukadev Goswami says, these are the best questions anyone can ask. Because these questions themselves, forget the answers, these questions themselves are such a blessing to humanity. And if someone understands the answers to these questions, the whole humanity can be delivered. The best blessing we can have. So this information about the ultimate goal of spiritual life, that's what is presented in these literatures, in these Puranas. And the highest success of human life is if we can take our time and put our heart and mind and intelligence into understanding these subjects. No matter how busy we are, how packed our schedule is, but if you don't have time to understand the most essential principles of life, then it is not worth living. Just like we take out time to do our basic activities, eating, taking rest and all, no matter how busy we are. Right? Similarly, some time we should spare to introspect, to understand the purposes and meaning of life. Otherwise, we get carried away by the hustle bustle of life, especially in modern times where there is so much distraction, so much bombardment. It doesn't allow us to ponder about essential purposes of life, essential questions of life. So in this way, this Gita verse is telling us that don't try to fulfill multiple goals through multiple sources. All these things can be fulfilled if we go to one perfect source. Just like all the purposes of well can be fulfilled by a river. Find out one ultimate source that can provide answers to everything. Okay, so we'll stop here. Anyone has any comment or question? Thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.